Okay guys, so we're going to be doing a FRC based mobility session for hip external rotation, and the long-term vision of this session is to build a better squat pattern. So if you do squats at all in any of your workouts, your gym-based workouts, this is a really good workout or a really good session for building a better squat position. We're going to start with a warm-up, and we're going to use something called controlled articular rotations for that. So the first thing we're going to do is go to a side lying position. So if we lay on our left side with our right hip up, we're going to stack our hips on top of each other, and we're going to have the right knee on top of the left there. Brace yourself with your top arm. Keep your shoulders in line with your hips, and then from there, we're going to lift that top leg up and bring it up towards the chest. Now we're trying to make as big a circle as we can here without any compensation through the spine. So we're going to start to lift ankle and knee up together. Once we get as far as we can without rolling our hips or our spine, we're going to drop the knee in and rotate the upper thigh, okay? So we're going through internal rotation here, all the way through, nice, slow and controlled. We're trying to move at 1 mile an hour, okay, whatever that may mean to you. So it might not be at my tempo. As the knees come back together, we're just going to reverse back the other way. So we kick backwards. Once we get as far back as we can without changing that spinal position, we're going to lift the knee up with the ankle and then externally rotate or rotate the foot through. Back towards the chest, down, that's 1 rep. We've got 1 rep to go. So back up towards the chest, out. Rotate through. Draw a nice big circle with that kneecap, knee come back together, and then change direction. Last rep on this side, up towards the chest. Try to make sure there's no compensation and the knees end up back together. From there, we're going to pop over onto the opposite side. So laying on the right side now, make sure the hips are stacked on top of each other, knees in line with the hips, spine in a nice organised position, brace, create a little bit of tension in the body, lift that left leg up, come up towards the chest as far as you can without compensation through that spine, and start to open up. Go as far as you can, then begin to rotate the upper thigh into internal rotation, come all the way through, until the knees come back together, and then reverse back. Keep a nice steady tempo. Try not to speed up or slow down at any point here. As far as you can, then we're external rotation up towards the chest. Knees come together. We've got 1 more rep to do. Keep it going. Keep that brace. Same amount of tension you started with is the same tension I want you to finish with. Working through the widest possible circle with that upper thigh. Half a rep to do. And together. And pause there. From here, we're going to come up into a seated position. We're going to grab behind the right leg to begin with. We're going to pull that thigh in towards the chest. Now, what we're going to try to do here is work from our knee down. So we don't want any compensatory movements from the upper thigh. So really brace, take a big deep breath in. Imagine you're pushing that air down into the lower abs. And what we're going to do from here is externally rotate from the shin bone only. Okay, so you can see my shin bones rotated out. And then from there, I want you to kick up about halfway to parallel. From there, we're going to internally rotate that shin bone now and then come back down. That's 1. You should feel the hamstrings doing the work. External rotation, kick up. Internal rotation, come back down. Keep that internal rotation on as hard as you can, kick back up. Go to external rotation, come down. 1 more to do on this side. Internal, kick up. External, and come down. Cool, switch it over. Same again on the other side, exactly the same detail. So fleshy part of the thigh, brace hard, big deep breath, externally rotate, kick up. Internal rotation, come back down. If you can go a little bit further, you've got a bit more range, then use it. External, come up. Internal, come down. Good, stay internal now, and we go through 2 the other way. To external, down. Last one, internal, kick up. External, and down. Cool, last one we've got to do for the warm-up. So we're back behind the right leg, but this time we're going to come behind the knee. Grab the opposite arm, and then with the spare hand, I want you to block the shin. We're going to lift that foot off the ground, and then from here, what we're going to do is bring the top of our foot up towards the shin bone. From there, we're going to bring the big toe in towards the midline, and we're going to draw a nice big circle with the foot. As wide as we can, but we don't want the shin bone to move here. Everything from the ankle down is doing the work. Okay, up to the top, that's 1 rep. We've got 1 more to do in that direction. Remember, we're working the widest possible circle we can do without compensation. As we get to the top here, we're just going to change direction, and we're going 2 in the opposite.
And again, trying to keep a nice, smooth tempo, keep some tension in the body. That's going to help the nervous system get engaged and help us smooth out the movement pattern. Coming round to the top, and we finish there. Same again on the opposite side. So left arm's going to go underneath the left knee. We're going to grab the right arm, block the shin bone with the right hand, and pull that knee in towards the chest. Top of the foot up towards the shin bone, and then big toe goes in, down, and around. Nice big wide circle. As we get to the top, just pass straight through for rep 2. Make sure that shin bone's not getting involved. Good. As we get to the top, tick top back, other direction, 2 that way. Try and go as wide as you can. Good, guys. Last one. And finish at the top. Okay. Should be feeling nice and warm now from the lower extremities. We're going to be working, to start with, on some expansion of range. We're going to use something called pails and rails for this. So we're going to use, our base position is going to be a 90-90. And I'll explain what the pails and rails are as we get into the position, once we're into the position. So the first thing I want you to do is find a 90-degree angle. You can see here my knee is in line with my hip, and then my ankle is in line with the knee, and that creates a 90-degree angle in that leg. And we're going to do the same on the side leg here. But our focus is going to be on this externally rotated. On this, for me, that's on my left leg here. And then I'm going to turn my torso so that my sternum is in line with that knee. Okay, you might already start to feel a stretch into this left hip. No problem if you don't. What we're going to do to increase the stretch, okay, is start to bow into it. And what I mean by that is to increase the curve into your lower back. All right, so we're going to bow by pulling my glutes behind me and pushing my chest forward. Okay, and you'll start to feel a stretch increase into that left hip. If you still haven't quite got a strong enough stretch, then keeping that nice strong bow on, we're going to start to lean into it, and we're going to hold there. Okay, so we've done about 30 seconds already. We're going to hold for a full 2 minutes. Okay, so whilst you're holding this stretch, just try to listen to what I'm saying, and I'm going to talk you through the process of the pails and rails. So, what we're going to be doing in a second is something called an isometric contraction. An isometric contraction is simply tension in the muscles without any visible movement at the joint or lengthening or shortening of the muscles. Okay, so there's a lot of tension, but no movement, no visible movement. And we'll be working through internal and external rotation of the hip. Okay, we've got about a minute to go on the stretch before we go into the first bit of work. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is imagine if there was a seam on the inside. If you're wearing leggings, you might already have a seam. You might have a logo as a reference point. But if you haven't got either of those things, I want you to imagine there's an X drawn on your thigh. You're going to try and move that X logo or seam inside by using the muscles of the hip. Okay? We're going to hold that for about 10 seconds, and then we're going to try and switch and rotate it the other way. We might see some visible movement from the lower leg. We may not. Okay, if you do see a lot of movement, then we're probably not deep enough into the stretch. We're trying to hold that stretch right at the end and work from that position. We're going to go in about 10 seconds. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is slowly build up the tension, working that X logo seam inside. Ready to go? So staying in that end range of that stretch, hold that position, take a big deep breath in, imagine you're bracing that air down into the lower part of your abs and begin to move that seam inside just 20% of your maximum. Build that up to 40 for me. Good, you'll start to feel the ankle and the knee come down into the floor. Build it up into 60%. Now the whole body wants to be getting involved as well, 80%. And then go safest, greatest contraction, crushing this foot and rotating this upper thigh into the floor. Good, we've got 5 more seconds, and then we're going to switch the other way. 2, 1, and now switch. And we're trying to rotate the upper thigh, and you might start to feel the ankle go a little bit light on the floor there. Hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax, but don't come out of the stretch. Take a breath. As you exhale, I want you to sink just a little bit deeper into that stretch, and you'll feel the stretch increase into that left hip, okay, or you might be on your right, okay. We're going to hold there for another 10 seconds or so, and then we're going to go through that process one more time. Just try to breathe, long inhales, longer exhales. Get your nervous system to relax. If you're a bit tense here, we're trying to relax the tension into that hip before we go to work. All right, guys, ready to go. Big deep breath in. Push the air down into that lower abs and start to move that X inside 20%. Thinking about the hip, the muscles around the hip, go 40. 60. Keep it building, 80. And then your safest, greatest contraction. Give me as much as you can, trying to rotate the upper thigh inwards. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then quick, try and change it the other way. So now we're trying to move the logo seam or X to the outside. Keep giving me everything. Your whole body should be fired up for another 3, 2, 1. Relax, take a breath. As you exhale, just find a little bit more range. Good, you'll feel that stretch increase a little bit further into the hip. Give me 2 more big deep breaths. Long inhales, longer exhales. And then we're slowly going to ease ourselves back, but keep your legs in that 90-90 position. Good work, okay? So we're going to do a transition from here across to the other side. So 2 options. You can either do it with your hands off the floor here if you have an available mobility, or you can place the hands behind to make it a little bit easier. The further my hands go back, the easier it will get. Okay, so find a position that's challenging for you, but not impossible. All right, so from here, keeping this left leg that we've just worked externally rotated and down to the floor, what I want you to try and do is take your right leg as far this way, like we're opening it up as a book, okay, as possible. Once you hit that end range and now the left leg wants to start to come off the floor, take note of the distance between the legs. We're going to try to maintain that as best we can. So we're going to continuously try to push these 2 apart. Okay, so driving the right knee over. Keep that left knee as far away as possible. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Don't let them get any closer together. Keep it moving all the way over until we start to get that right knee. Once the right knee touches down, then we can let the left knee come in. And we should be back into a 90-90 position, but on the opposite side. I'm just going to slide myself back a little bit. Cool. Okay, so we're in that 90-90 position. Just check that you're set up correctly. So you should have your knee in line with your hip, ankle in line with the knee on the front leg, and then we've got the same on the back leg. Sternum towards the middle of the knee, and then remember we're going to bow into the stretch. Okay, if you need to, you can come down a little bit further, and you might be less or more mobile on this hip versus the other hip. That's not uncommon. So find the position where you get the strongest stretch. And then we've got 2 minutes. And I'm just going to reiterate what we did on the first side. And we'll go through that while we're holding this stretch. We've done about 30 seconds. So remember, the X or the seam, the logo, we're going to move it inside to begin with. But naturally, as I try to rotate this upper thigh, of course, that's going to move my lower leg. And we're going to start to get pressure going down into the floor. So rotation through the upper thigh is going to move, or there's going to be some contraction down here. Okay? And then when we get a quick switch going the other way, it's the subtlest of things, but you might start to feel just a little gap underneath that ankle, okay, if you're working hard enough and we're trying to lift, okay? Remember, as we finish the stretch, not to back off straight away and relax, but stay on that end range, take a breath, and then really try to increase by either bowing the stretch. Remember, we talked about bowing the lower back a little bit further, push the bum away, chest forward, or coming down a little bit lower. We shouldn't be in this position here at any point. All right, we've got about 30 seconds left before we go into that. So really, the whole way through this, I want you to be focusing. When we're not working, we should be long inhales, longer exhales. That tells our nervous system to relax. We go to rest, digest. And then when we start to ramp up, that's when we go fight or flight. All right, guys, we're ready to go for this next round. 2 rounds on this side, and then we're going to move on to the next group of exercises. So, big deep breath in. Push that air, or imagine you're pushing that air down into the lower abs. Okay, and start to move that X seam or logo into the middle by 20% of your maximum. Make sure the whole body's fired. It's to squeeze the legs, the glutes, the upper back. Go 40, 60, 80, and then your safest, greatest contraction for 10 seconds. Give me everything you got. Make sure you're right on the end range of that stretch. 5 more. 3, 2, 1, and switch. Try and go the opposite way. Move the logo to the outside of the thigh now. Don't back off on that tension. Keep it right on 100%. 2, 1, and rest. Good. Take a breath. As you exhale, bow the stretch. Come down a little bit lower. Find a bit more range. Get a bit more of a stretch into that hip and go immediately to your breath work. So long inhales, longer exhales. We've got 10 seconds, and then we're going to follow up with that last set. Good, guys. All right, big deep breath in. Brace that midline and then radiate that tension out. Rotate that X, so Seymour logo into the middle, 20%. Go 40. Make sure the whole body's firing up. 60, 80, and then safest, greatest effort. Got 10 seconds of work. Don't back off. Give me everything. Good, guys. 5 more. 2, 1, and switch. Try and lift that ankle off. Try and rotate that X Seymour logo to the outside of the thigh. Good. 2, 1, and rest. Take a breath. Exhale, find some more range. Good work, guys. 3 big deep breaths in here. Just relax the nervous system, own that new range. Okay, and bring yourself out. Okay, guys, well done there. So we're going to go back to our bear sit transition. So remember, we're either going to do this hands off, or if you prefer to make it a little bit easier, just place the hands down. Exactly the same as we did for the last transition. So now the right leg's going to stay glued to the floor. Okay, and we're going to open up that left leg like a book, get it as far away from the right leg as we can, and then we're going to notice the distance. Okay, I'm going to try and maintain that. Allow the right leg to come up now and slowly transition across. Push them apart, use those glutes to drive those legs apart. Don't let it get any closer. That left leg's going to come all the way down. Once it hits the floor, then we allow the right leg to catch up. And we're back into our 90-90 position. Okay, so just check in with yourself. Knee in line with the hip, ankle in line with the knee. Same on the back leg. We're going to be working this front leg through something called EQIs, eccentric quasi-isometrics. Okay, so don't worry about what that means necessarily. Just worry about how we're going to do the functionality of the exercise. So, to make this a little bit easier, you can come down to the elbow. The further you get your torso away from your left leg, the easier this is going to get. The closer you come, the harder it's going to be. For me, I'm going to be about here. I'm going to use my hand, but I'm going to move that kickstand hand away from the knee a little bit. Then I'm going to place my opposite hand, my right hand, underneath the ankle, and I'm just going to rotate that thigh. You can see that's external rotation. We've just been working on improving that range. Okay. From there, what I'm going to ask you to do is ramp up your tension and remove the support hand as much as you can, okay? And we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just slowly place it down, okay? And we're going to do 3 reps of that, okay? Then we're going to bear sit transition across, and we're going to do the same on the opposite side, all right? So in actual fact, I'm going to come down to the elbow just to make it a little bit clearer, all right? So from here then, grab that ankle, externally rotate that thigh. Ramp up the tension into those hips, okay, to rotate that leg. Remove the passive support and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly bring it down under control till it hits. Good. Take a breath. Hand goes back underneath. Grab that leg, ramp it up. Remove the support, don't let it lag down, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slowly down. Good. Should be feeling the outside of the hip doing the work here to try and pull that thigh around. One more time. Grab that ankle. Ramp up tension to the outside of that hip, and off we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly down, under control, and rest. Good. Sit back up into your bear sit position. You can be here or using the hands. Keep that left leg glued. Open up that right leg. Notice the distance between the legs, and then off we go. Nice and slowly. Keep them apart. Drive them apart. Don't let them get close together. Good. Once that right knee hits, place the left leg down. Just check in with your position. Make sure that knee is in line with the hip, ankle in line with the knee. Same on the opposite leg. So, find a position. Again, you might be more mobile, less mobile on this hip, so it might be a different position from the other side. Okay, so for me on the elbow there, just so you get a nice clear indication of what I'm doing, onto that ankle, externally rotate that leg. Fire up the hip muscles, ready, big deep breath in, and remove this passive support. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Good, that's 1, 2 more. Grab the ankle, ramp it up there. Tighten that hip, brace, remove that support and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slowly down. Good, 1 more to do, that's 2 done. So grab the ankle, lift it up. Ramp up, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Good work. Bear sit transition again. So we sit back up here, hands behind. Keep that right knee glued to the floor to begin with. Open up that left leg as far apart as we can. Notice the distance. And then off we go. Transitioning across. Keep them apart. Don't let it get any closer. Once that left leg hits the floor, allow the right leg to catch up. Okay, different exercise this time. So now we're going to be doing some end range rotation from here. This is the last one before we go into our squat pattern. So, again, same thing here. If I need to make it easier, this hand can come away. This time we're not going to be working this leg, but we're going to be working the right leg. So, from here what we're going to do, big deep breath in, brace through the whole system, but we're going to lift that ankle and knee off together at the same time. So you should see that's in a straight line. I'm going to try and keep this knee as far back this way as possible before I start to rotate. And I'm going to bring that ankle and knee in together. Now what I don't want to do here is allow my hips to rotate and lose my position. I want to keep my sternum facing towards that leg, go as far as I can, and then drop it back down. Okay? We're going to do 3 reps here, 3 reps on the other side, and then we're going to build into a squat pattern. All right, guys, so set yourselves up for that 90-90. As we did at the beginning with the stretch, sternum towards the midpoint of the knee, brace, and lift off. So ankle and knee come up together. Keep that knee as far back as possible and begin to rotate. Don't let your hips change position. Don't let your spine change position. Bring that ankle through as far as you can. Try and get it underneath the knee and then return backwards. Try and keep the knee back. Don't let it fall forwards. And place back down exactly where you started from. That's 1, 2 more. Ready? Brace and lift. Begin to rotate. Through we come. Foot comes in line with the knee as much as possible without the spine changing position, and change direction. Back to the start. Good. That's 2. Place down. 1 more to go. Ramp up and lift off. There we go, guys. Bring it all the way through to that top position and return. Good. Well done. Place down. Good. Take a quick breath. Hands behind. And then from there, keeping that left leg down, exactly the same transition. Last time through this, push that right leg away. Left leg then begins to catch or stays the same distance as we transition across. Keep it apart, keep driving apart until the right leg touches down, then the left leg catches up. Okay, quickly check in with your position. We've got 3 reps to do before we go to squat position. So, knee in line with the hip, ankle in line with the knee, same on the back leg. Sternum towards the middle of the knee. Brace, good, and lift off. Rotate through. Try and get that ankle in line with the knee without any compensation through the spine or hips, and then return. Good, guys, well done, that's 1. Good, make sure, if you need to, you adjust your position. It might be slightly different from the opposite side. Ready, brace and lift off. Bring the foot through, rotation, 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 and return. Good. 1 to do, last rep, best rep. Ready, ramp up, lift off. Let's go. Ankle in line with the knee, in line with the hip. Return back, try and keep that knee back, and place down. Okay. Building into the squat pattern. Last little bit now, guys. So, turn ourselves over. Now, we're going to open up, keeping that right leg down. Once we hit our limit, we're going to come all the way across until our knees are we're sat on our glutes and our knees are as far apart as possible. And then we're going to slide our feet in. Okay? From here, just crawl yourself forwards until you're into a squat pattern here. Now, if you struggle with this position because you haven't got enough ankle range, what you can do is just very quickly fold the edge of your mat up, place your heels as high as you need to be able to get into that position, okay? The higher you go with the mat, the more, the easier the position is going to be. So, back to our start position then. What we're going to do from here, I want you to bring your hands together. We're going to actively squeeze ourselves up using the whole of our back line of our body. Ready? Big deep breath in. You're thinking bottom of the foot to the top of the hips on the back side of our legs. Squeeze and slowly, slowly, slowly coming up, push the knees apart. So the legs fully extend and then back down. This time we're on the front side of the body. As you get down close to the bottom, I want you to hit your basement and then we're going to squeeze for 5, 4, try and increase the basement, try and get deeper. 2, 1, and then we come back up again. Use the back side of the legs now, hamstrings, glutes. Push, 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 push. Now the front line of the body, quads, hip flexors, front of the shin, top of the foot, pull you down. As we get to the bottom, squeeze. Knees wide, hold, keep squeezing, try and go deeper, deeper, and change. One more time up. Don't break on it, keep with me. Good, keep pushing those knees apart, all the way up. Fully extend and change. We're coming down for one last rep. Slowly, slowly, slowly. As we get to the bottom, hold for 5. Keep trying to go deeper. 4, keep increasing your basement. 2, 1, hands go down, take a rest. Okay, well done, guys. Really good little session there for improving your squat mechanics and more specifically the external rotation of the hips. You can work through that session a couple of times a week to begin with. Give yourself a good 2 or 3 days between each workout. It might make you a little bit sore. You might be feeling it already, like your hips are worked quite hard. If that's the case and you do get sore, these exercises that we did at the start, especially the one for the hips, be really useful in just maintaining the range of motion that we've opened up today, as well as improving the function and the health of the joint generally. If you've got any questions about what we did today or any comments, make sure you leave it in the comment section below, and make sure you check out our channel because there's plenty more workouts to follow.